welcome to Real Food, and today we're going to talk about breakfast and something very interesting that I used to enjoy in London a few years ago, but something that Pret discontinued, and I felt really disappointed because it was a really good thing. I'll tell you what it is. It was they used to make a croissant containing almost a complete English breakfast inside it. So they would cut it in the middle, and then inside there would be egg, a bit of mushrooms, a bit of bacon, a bit of everything, and it was such a good breakfast item. Basically, you had your English breakfast in a French croissant, and to make it all yourself, you obviously need all the ingredients, and it's almost like a complete English breakfast. But it was all in one croissant, freshly baked croissant, and I really enjoyed it. I still remember how this one croissant would just be a substitute for a complete breakfast meal for me. But then they discontinued it, and I understand why, because it's quite a lot of hassle to make that breakfast in a croissant. But what I'm going to do today, I'm going to recreate this amazing composition that they used to have, and I'll see how it goes. So I've got a bit of mushrooms. I've got mushrooms left from yesterday. I've got eggs. I've got this croissant, which I didn't bake myself, but it's a relatively nice one from a nearby bakery. And I've got some bacon, and I've got all of the ingredients, and hopefully I will be able to make that delicious croissant. So if you used to have this croissant yourself, if you used to enjoy it, if you are in London or in the UK or anywhere where Pret operates, you probably do remember that sort of breakfast egg and bacon and mushrooms inside a croissant. So so if you miss it, we're going to go through all of the steps and recreate it now. So, and the first step in this adventure will be butter, and then I'm going to gently heat my mushrooms in this butter. So I'm going to have a nice chunk of butter, and this butter is also going to be used to make my egg omelette. So that should be hopefully enough. I think it will be fine. So this butter will go in the frying pan, and I will actually put it on gentle heat so that my butter is melting. But in the meantime, I'm going to prepare my mushrooms. They're relatively small, so they should be fairly easy to prepare. But I do want to cut them because these mushrooms will form part of that breakfast inside a croissant. So I will chop them. I'll chop them well, relatively, so there shouldn't be too big, many really big lumps of your mushrooms or other ingredients. So, and the same was with egg. So everything was chopped finely, and it was all delicious. It was creamy, buttery. So from what I remember, this was a really nice thing. So it was really disappointing they discontinued it. But I imagine it was taking up a lot of time from their staff to make these things, and they would only charge like £1 or £2 for it. So the cost that they charged just wouldn't cover the effort. And I imagine if they charged a lot for it, not everybody would go for it, because it's just they've got other croissants and coffees, everything like £1.50, £1.60, and if they started suddenly charging £5.50 for this breakfast in a croissant, I don't think everybody would be able to afford it. It's just how those menus work in there, and they just couldn't make it. Okay, so this batch is ready. It's going in the pan. So, and I'm going to do more. Okay, let's do more of these mushrooms. So it's a really nice also mushroom selection. I get these mushrooms from M&S, and they call them woodland mushrooms, and they include a variety which is really nice. So you can see there's a variety of different types of mushrooms. Some small, some large, but I think they all still need to be cut further, because this will be a filling. So it's like a filling in my croissant, a filling in the form of a complete English breakfast, which was, you know what, it was fantastic. This was years ago, and I still remember it, and I'm still going on and on about it. So I guess it was like one of my good memories. In the morning, I would go through hell of underground, trying to get to my office, and on the way, I would stop by and get one of these croissants with a latte. And to be honest, I liked it so much that if they didn't have it, or it was still in the oven, they would tell me, they're not ready yet, you know, another 5 minutes. I would actually wait in Pret for those croissants to come out, and I would sometimes be late for my morning meetings, and because I was waiting for those croissants to come through. But it was just that good, you know, it was a nice... So let me put that in. So here we are. So I've only got a few mushrooms left, and then we'll go to the next stage. So these are that's it. These are my final mushrooms to chop while I'm moaning about Pret discontinuing those gorgeous croissants. So but you probably can understand, you know, if you had something that you really, really liked and then they discontinue without warning for no reason, you know, you'd feel... And then I was like looking, okay, what could I have that would be equivalent of this to replace it with something? And I struggled, you know, because the sandwiches that Pret makes, they're okay, they're nice. They've got a sandwich with egg, but that sandwich doesn't actually give you the same feeling of being a complete breakfast. It's a nice egg sandwich, but it's more like a snack. It's not like a breakfast in a sandwich. They also have another sandwich which does contain bacon and other things, but none of them would actually, because you see, croissant was fresh, it was warm, and all of the ingredients were also freshly, you know, everything was fresh, everything was warm. Yeah, so that's why I'm keen to try and recreate this. So okay, the mushrooms are nearly there. Okay, I'm going to show you what's going on, where these mushrooms are going. So these mushrooms are going here, and they look like there's loads of them, but you know what, it's not going to be much, because as you start, you know, if you prepare mushrooms yourself, you know, as you start frying them, they shrink a little, so there will be not as many. And then in the same place, I will also put my egg. I'll put my eggs in there as well. So now, what I'm going to start doing, while my mushrooms are being okay, so butter is melting, so I can increase the heat now. So this will form my filling for my croissant. You know, there may be more filling that the croissant can take, but it's not a problem. You know, I can always eat it. So I'm now going to start preparing eggs, and you know, because I don't want to create too large amount of this filling for my croissant, I'm going to use just the yolks instead of using. I'm going to use mostly yolks of an egg, and it will make my croissant particularly buttery and filling. I've not had breakfast today, almost all day, so this is going to be a nice late breakfast. But before I start throwing my eggs there, I want to get my mushrooms in shape. I want them heated up, so that when eggs go in, the mushrooms are already cooked, and they can interact with my eggs really nicely. So you see, the mushrooms are beginning to shrink. And you know what, I thought this would be a lot more hassle to prepare this breakfast in a croissant, English breakfast in a French croissant, but it actually turns out to be relatively simple. task. So cutting of mushrooms is probably the most time-consuming thing. Eggs are relatively easy to throw into this to make oh, here we are. It's all gone foggy. So while my mushrooms are being heated, I'm going to prepare this crispy bacon, because this crispy bacon is another thing. It was like a final touch on top of that croissant. There was this bit of crispy bacon and eggs and mushrooms inside. It was really, really yummy. So so bacon is, well, bacon I bought. I didn't make this bacon, but everything else, yeah, everything else I also bought, but I'm preparing everything else. So it smells lovely already. So my mushrooms, I think my mushrooms are nearly there in terms of how much I wanted to cook them. So I'm just thinking maybe I could go back to showing you the pan, and it's not going to go too foggy. So you see, mushrooms are now much smaller, and there's space now for my eggs to. I'm creating space for my eggs, and in a minute I will be adding my eggs. So what I'm going to do, this will be mainly egg yolks, and I also, you know what, I wanted to share some information with you. Egg yolks are the most nutritious component of an egg. It actually contains both protein and fats and vitamins and other nutrients. So whereas whites, this is mainly protein, which is also useful, but yolks are particularly rich in all their micronutrients and other components. So you see how easy it is. So one is there already. Oh, this one is slightly broken. Never mind, this is going to be an omelette anyway. So I'm gonna add a third one, and then nearly broke this one as well. Okay, I think this one's going to be fine. Okay, even if broken, it will be alright. So I'm just going to wash my hands briefly. Okay, so here we are. So here's the second ingredient. So we've got mushrooms here, and I do need to add some salt, because egg with salt is really nice, and mushrooms also need to have a little bit of salt. And then so it's going to be scrambled egg. Yeah, so it's not going to be like an omelette, but it's going to be like a nice scrambled egg, mainly with yolks. So another ingredient I think that's very useful here, it's pepper. So crushed pepper. So we're adding, yeah, I think that's enough. So so crushed peppers. My scrambled egg is coming through nicely. And what I really like is that these ingredients work really well together. So this croissant is going to be mushroom, egg and bacon, all of the key ingredients in English breakfast, really. Well, the ones that are still missing, going to be missing, will be tomato, sausage, but you know what, you can add a bit of sausage if you have a bit of sausage, right? So you can experiment with this. So this is just an idea that works really well, because it's been tried by Pret, but unfortunately they didn't make it last. But here we are. So the egg is now nearly there. So I want to make sure it's all cooked. But you know what, even if it's not fully cooked, there's a little bit of runny yolk. That will work really well. So you'll have your yolk sinking into your croissant, so your croissant layers will start getting infused by the yolk, which is fantastic, you know what. But in this case, you might have like your fingers and everything covered in egg yolk. So, and the way Pret did it, I think Pret used a bit of omelette and a bit of boiled egg, and then they would chop the egg and they would mix it with mayonnaise. So I will add a little bit of mayonnaise, but I'm not going to have a lot of mayonnaise. but in Pret's version they did have also mayonnaise as one of the ingredients. Okay, well, this is nearly ready, nearly there. So I'm just going to dispose my eggshells while this is preparing. Okay, well, so this is pretty much another thing you could also experiment with. Will be adding some. I guess you could add some pickles. You could add maybe gherkin. You could add all the traditional ingredients that you would consider in a breakfast, in an English breakfast. So we're nearly there, and I'm now going to get a plate, which I'm going to use to cut my croissant in the middle. So we are going to move now we're now going to move back. So this filling is ready, but we're moving back to our croissant, and we now need to follow. So the next step, this is a gorgeous croissant. So they would make an incision in the middle like this, and then look at this croissant, multi-layered, gorgeous. And then this filling would go right in the middle. So this was like a really full croissant. It was like overflowing with all those gorgeous fillings. So this is what we're going to do now. So we've got our eggs and mushrooms ready. So here we are. So the eggs can go in first. Look at this. So here we are. Egg goes in. And let's yeah, it's looking really good. And let's add some mayonnaise, because mayonnaise will then hold together mushrooms. This is actually spicy from M&S, peri peri mayo, so I don't want to use too much for fear of my breakfast becoming too hot hot in terms of spicy. So now, but some mayonnaise. Okay, see, all these mushrooms are going in. So mushrooms are going in. See how this croissant is becoming filled with this goodness, this breakfast, all these breakfast components. So I think, you know what, I thought there would be too much going on, but no, look, it's all just perfect. So just right amount for one gorgeous croissant. So look, it's now almost falling apart. Not quite. And the final touch basically was this. I'm going to spread it into smaller pieces so that it's easier to deal with it. So final touch is this bacon going on top. So a bit of bacon, and voila, you've got this English breakfast in a French croissant. So it's like Anglo-European breakfast for you. And this used to be served in Pret, believe it or not, for as little as like £1.50 or £1.60. But sadly, they discontinued. And if anybody working in Pret and listening to my podcast, to my videos, I wish you could restart these. You know what, as I was chatting about this gorgeous croissant and how Pret should restart it, the battery died in my camera, so I'm hoping that I've not lost my footage. But on this lovely note, I'm going to wrap this video. This is the end. I'm sure this will be delicious. So now you've seen how easy it is to do this trans-European breakfast, and I hope you will try it, and it will be just as delicious and wonderful for you as it is for me. So let me wish you bon appetit, and we'll chat again in another video.